Sagittarius, this is your January 2022 soul story. This month, you need to give yourself more credit for how far you've come, but you also need to stop and take a really clear assessment as to the true value of what's in your life right now. This is Romy. Welcome to my channel. We're going to give you some key astrological dates and break down some of the intuitive messages that are going on in the cosmos and the energy conversations so that you can feel more equipped to navigate your way through the next few weeks. So Sagittarius, opening up January with the energy of the Three of Fire, Three of Wands. And overall, there's a restlessness to the vibe in January, which means that you're going to want to get moving. There's an impatience to want to see the results and the deliverance of things. And I have a sense that for some of you, there's this feeling that something is overdue. You are waiting for someone or something. And that in and of itself can cause a little bit of stress and anxiety because it can almost make you start to doubt yourself and start to unravel or unpick. And perhaps where there's been promises or commitments or discussions that have taken place, you're really kind of taking a moment to try to feel into the trueness of that. Now, of course, we've still got Venus retrograde right through to the end of the month, and it's going to be joined by the first Mercury retrograde transit from the 14th in air sign of Aquarius. And so collectively, of course, these two transit means that sometimes there's a little bit of toing and froing, and we definitely need to revisit commitments more firmly once we come out of January. I think that there's this dance that's playing out for you between productivity, wanting to get things done, wanting to see the progress, wanting to tap into your potential and start to really embody this new sense of value that you're now attributing to who you are, what you have to offer, how you want to take charge of your life. But then also this need for flexibility, to be adaptable, and even have a little bit of diplomacy into certain situations as each and every one of us kind of really feels our way into this new frequency of a brand new year, and trying to kind of have that delicate dance. At times it's going to feel frustrating. At times it's going to feel like it has you questioning things or not giving yourself due credit actually for what you've achieved. And almost I want to say, if you can get out of your own way a little bit in the month of January, things are going to start to flow to you much more easily. I suppose the question I would also want to ask of you is like, who are you trying to convince, Sagittarius, and why? So that's going to give you everything you need to know about perhaps where you're giving your power away, or again a reevaluation of where something is holding or no longer holding value for you. Now, you have the Goddess of Fire, so this is the energy of the King of Wands. Of course, that really works with your natural elemental power. I love that you're here deeply sort of engrossed in the creation, the concoction of something, beautiful creative energy, and there's real mastery that's emerging here. Now, this beautiful wave of Jupiter and Pisces is unlocking and awakening something for you by way of a vision quest, and I just feel that you're so ready and kind of amped up to be able to get moving, but at the same time, Spirit's almost asking you to keep revisiting something. Now, this is a month, interestingly, where we want to have everything on the table. We want to keep experimenting, and you can see she's churning away with that cauldron. And so there's this understanding that perhaps you don't have all of the pieces of the puzzle, you don't have all of the information, you don't have everything that is going to actually create the final outcome or give you a true sense of what the end game or the final picture is going to look like, okay? And so when you're questioning the value of things, keep that in mind, because there's something about this discernment that's so important through the month of January. We're all going to be seeing things that we've never seen before. And the thing with the energy of the King of Wands is he is incredibly visionary. And he also brings to the table this this flair and this kind of entrepreneurial spirit that's just, it's going on gut instinct, but in a way that gut instinct has also been honed over years and years and years of learning to trust himself, herself, in this amazing kind of intuitive ignition. And, you know, that's available to you to tap into. Your Three of Wands, your King of Wands here. This is strong fire, spirited energy igniting something within you, okay? So where you find yourself trying to convince other people, or you feel like you're having to ask for things, I'm like, do you know what? Question, can you actually do it for yourself? Can you actually give permission, you know, to just get on and begin, or to make changes, or to do what it is that you need to do without trying to convince somebody else? And again, you know, there's a reminder that we're all at different stages in the journey at the moment. What are you clinging to that you do not enjoy? Yeah, there's going to be a big revelation for you in January, I feel, Sagittarius, about your continued determination. And I suppose I want to use the phrase to flog a dead horse. It's kind of like that. What are you pushing and pushing and pushing? Because your Nine of Fire, your Nine of Wands, that's kind of wounded warrior, isn't it? And it's almost like, I am exhausted by this journey. And I feel like there's just something that wants to be released. And the thing that I want to say is, like, it's almost like there's an interpretation on your part that if I let this go, I've somehow given up, or there's a failure, or I'm not going to have a replacement for it, and how am I going to cope or manage or deal with that? And yet there's a ripeness here. Look at all this fruit. There's something that's bearing fruit for you. And perhaps you are getting in the way or stopping that very thing from coming in, whether that be a person or relationship, something to do professionally or with creative projects, or even around your own physicality and well-being. There's something about an approach that you're taking that definitely requires an adjustment. And the recognition of how much you've invested thus far doesn't need to be unpicked or unraveled just because you change course, or you move away from the elements of it that are no longer working or serving you. You have to get really clear in stating your intention so that you don't get swept up in something that isn't for you, or that you're not truly aligning with. And honestly, the energy of this month, you know, because the Nine of Wands is about perseverance, Sagittarius, and the new moon in Capricorn on the 2nd, just coming in at the turn of the new year, is going to give you that wherewithal. It's trining with Uranus. It's a beautiful placement to bring in that sort of surprise energy to kind of liberate you and free you from something. And what are we freeing you from? The thing that's stressing you out, the thing that feels like it's causing all of those deep fears, that's keeping you up at night, that actually might be representative of the hornet's nest. Now, if something feels too loud, too heavy, too provocative, and it's just poking you constantly, you have every right through the course of January to block, to withdraw, to remove this, to move past it, because you have better things to be investing your time, energy, and attention towards that are ready and ripe to bear fruit for you. The discernment and the questioning of everything in terms of its validity for your personal journey and your personal experience is really important this month. That's why we want you to be researching and looking at more options, because there's solutions that want to step forth for you. And if you feel that something is overdue, we have to look at, is there something I need to change or address, or am I simply looking in the wrong area for something to come into full manifestation in my path? So I think that the universe wants to deliver you all of the answers this month. It's really on board with kind of supporting you to make informed choices, okay? And it's not selfish for you to want the best for yourself, which also means, Sagittarius, you have to ask for it. Now, your Witch of Air comes in as the Knight of Swords, okay? Very intentional, very deliberate, very clear, charging in, has a very direct, succinct message to deliver. Now, that may be you, or it may be you on the receiving end of it, but regardless, something is in motion. Now, remember, night energies come around with swift change for us, okay? So I do feel that there's something through the course of this month that's saying we do require a reroute, a course correction of some sort. And it isn't a complete abandonment, but it is something, remember when we're working with retrograde energy, that we need to return to, perhaps to improve or to add something to. Now, we have the full moon coming in the sign of Cancer, water energy, on the 17th of the month. Remember, in Cancer energy, everything's a little bit indirect. You know, we move sideways like the crab. And so we're feeling our way into it. It's not always that direct, upfront conversation that you're much more adept at kind of dealing with. Your Knight of Swords may be you wanting to have that very direct conversation, but what you might be receiving from people or situations is something that feels a little bit more confusing, or that there is more of a sense of misunderstanding and not being able to get to the true root cause of it. What I want to remind you of is that we need to keep moving. We need to keep moving. So it doesn't matter if you are being met with a block, or if you're being met with a no, or a not right now, or a I don't understand what you're asking for, or whatever it is that comes your way. I have a sense that, you know, if you allow that to kind of block you or make you feel that all of a sudden your ideas, your feelings, you know, whatever your intentions are somehow being dismissed, then you're not following that true path for yourself. Now, the Seven of Swords here suggests that perhaps there's ulterior agendas or motives at play right now by other people, for where they may be trying to delay or withhold or redirect you in a certain sense. You know, the feathers are looking in all different directions. There's kind of a switchback energy of the pathway here. And so that could feel quite confusing and disorientating. Even that Knight of Swords might be playing some of these games with people who you're connecting with to try to move something forward. But what I feel is that you're going to be able to a certain degree, hold that level of diplomacy. And then if someone or something crosses the line, you have the opportunity then to kind of really be decisive on what feels like time wasting. Yeah, because this rebirth energy with Venus retrograde and really working on that second house, your value, the question of what value does this hold to me, is something that you really need to kind of align with absolutely in mind, body and spirit through the course of January for you, Sagittarius. It's no longer kind of hoping and wanting and kind of eyes shut, fingers crossed, praying. It's like, take back control and charge. But the more you can allow yourself to keep moving forward, keep practicing, keep experimenting, keep feeling authentic to the things that you know are important, that you want to work on, that you believe in, that you feel about yourself. And even if you're not getting that necessarily as direct feedback from others, I promise you, by the time you come to the end of the month, you're going to be so glad that you didn't give up, or that you didn't allow yourself to be triggered or overly affected by what other people were saying or doing. Remember, like I said, it's this dance, this balance between productivity and flexibility. Your Five of Cups comes in here and says, you know, there is a mission that you're on here. And even though the landscape is changing and there's almost a threat here, you know, if we look at the kind of global climate and, you know, the polar bears are under this kind of threat of extinction. So there's something that you may feel that you're doing and there's an aspect of scarcity or loss that's attached to it, or you feel like is impacting on your ability to do something or to be able to really move a situation forward, whether that be in a personal, professional, romantic capacity with relationships or connections. I still see you really determined, and I see you intent and really being pulled. And I think this is an overwhelming energy that I'm picking up in January for everybody as well, which I think is about our transition into this new vibrational frequency. It's like you will just feel this inextricable pull, like no one and no one thing can really hold you back in terms of the purpose and where you're supposed to be going. And if you go against your intuition to that degree, it's going to rub really in the wrong way for you. It's going to feel super, super uncomfortable, because for all of us, it's about moving out of the energy of self-denial. And there's a beautiful quality of January that we can all really embrace about these bridges being offered to us. What do I mean by that? It's like the bridges come in and give us an opportunity to realize how we can get from A to B, from A to D. It's just like where we thought there was no path possible, it starts to emerge when we're being more honest and truthful with ourselves, when we're doing the work and we are allowing ourselves to move into that new energy. And sometimes that means that we have to find a sense of acceptance, because there's something about that Five of Cups that I feel is about you accepting. But you know what? It's not clean. Doesn't necessarily feel as clean as you'd like it to. It could be incredibly messy. But it's almost like the life interruption that's caused by it is the very thing that can end up being really liberating and actually re-deliver the nourishment, the new love, the new opportunity to kind of reacquaint yourself with what truly matters, to prioritize your self-care, allow that healing energy to come into the areas of your life that haven't been moving or felt stagnant. And again, when we're looking at what this energy of something feeling like it's overdue, all of a sudden we have the water cascading and pouring, and it's like the floodgates are open. So it almost feels to me that following whatever this disappointment or acceptance or kind of having to deal with the loss of something is just the fastest direct route to actually getting what you want. Now, right after that full moon in Cancer, we've got Uranus stationing direct in Taurus on the 18th. Remember, when these planets station in the opposite direction, it can feel super disruptive to our energy system. You know, we are having to take some time to kind of like realign and find our natural energy rhythm with it again. And so particularly at a full moon that's very revelationary, very sensitive, and we then have this shift coming in about all of the work that you've been doing on an internal basis about breaking free, revolutionizing your life, wanting to kind of be more maverick, wanting to have this beautiful, soulful, charge into something that feels more aligned and authentic to you. We have this abrupt kind of catapulting energy to push you forward. So be real easy with yourself during that mid part of January in terms of what's showing up, okay, and the type of conversations and what might be going on for you around that time. And again, the questions you need to keep asking yourself is, what is the true value that this holds for me? And it's not about discounting anything too quickly, okay? But you are going to feel and you are going to be given very clear indication of actually where people's true intentions and motives are. Because if there is a compliance to want to even come to the negotiating table, because January is a big old negotiation month, you know, absolutely. And we all need to be prepared to be open-minded and to be looking at how we can collectively find solutions. And so where there is no negotiation, no openness, then again, it's a clear decision for you to say, you know, do I want to keep coming up against this brick wall? Because the healing that's available to me, and in fact, you've got this beautiful healing circle, okay? So there are people who are wanting to support your brilliance, wanting to support your well-being and your radiance, who believe in you, who see the best in you. And so it's about discovering and finding where that energy resides if you feel like you're not a part of that collective group right now. And that will become very clear to you, because the signposts from Spirit for me are showing up really powerfully, okay? So this is your general spread. Let's take a look and see how the Oracle cards just want to reflect some of these messages for you, Sagittarius. Now, Venus will go direct in Capricorn on the 29th, so there is going to be a firm idea of kind of where you stand, especially in regards to any situations that are going on, you know, financially for you, but also in some of those love relationships as well, if that's been playing out in a more challenging or complex unfolding for you. Okay, we're still going to be in shadow energy through February, remember, so you know there's still a little bit more of that to kind of play out, but there's going to be much more of a sense of clarification. Okay, you've actually got two, so let's just take them both. Okay, first of all, you have duality, many meanings, misunderstanding, but you also have Divine Mother, nurturing, compassion, and grace. Well, this sense of duality, you know, you are getting a very clear indication this month, Sagittarius, and seeing behind the smoke screen, I want to say. You'll be able to read between the lines. And the good thing is, even though retrograde energy can cause this misunderstanding, it almost gets you much more focused about articulating your message, your value, your wants and needs. Because perhaps you have to keep doing it over and over again so somebody really gets the message. And if you don't understand where they're coming from, then we have to kind of slow it down and become much more present to actually really absorb and take it in. So it can be really beneficial here as well, okay? And then this beautiful divine mother archetypal energy coming in with the nurturing compassion and grace. Well, here's that Ace of Cups and healing card is really about. And again, I feel like you've got situations around some more tricky, complex unfolding, especially relationship-wise, where there's going to be a chance for a lot more compassion and softer energy to be able to kind of diffuse some of the tension or some of the conflict and be able to talk about things in a much more neutral and diplomatic way. It might not be straight away, and you may have to kind of dig a little bit deeper to sort of find the energy of being able to stay in balance and stay present. But that's going to be valuable for you as well, because you know what we're really addressing here is how aligned you are with your own sense of value. You know, really, you got to remember that everyone's playing a part in your soul journey. They're just playing a role, Sagittarius. That's what they're here for, just as you play a role in other people's. And regardless of whether it's karmic partnering or whether it's just people that we come into contact with for a short season in our life, each and every one of them is here to help us to learn, develop, to grow, to be triggered so that we can deal with healing and wounded energy. And so the less you can take things personally and the more you can kind of disattach from what you think anybody is really trying to do to you, and you just make it more about what can I learn from this experience, that's where these beautiful bridges come in real powerful for you and kind of propel you, and just like that frog here, just help you to make this enormous leap in terms of your soul journey, of your awakened consciousness, of this beautiful, amazing paradigm shift that can actually get you much closer to where you want to be. And it really helps you to let go of some of that lower energy. The Seven of Swords is a very low vibe energy. It also holds a powerful frequency of guilt, so whether it's yours or someone else's, and guilt is one of the least helpful, growth-filled emotions to be dealing with. So again, you know, you've got the opportunity to really surpass and to deal with a lot of these things head on through the month of January, and that's going to be real beneficial for you in terms of what you're trying to achieve for yourself. Okay, so your astrology card is Ceres. Now, Ceres, the asteroid goddess, in fact turns direct in Taurus on the 14th. So let's pay close attention to the 14th of the month. That's also the day Mercury goes retrograde in Aquarius. But Ceres, of course, dealing with the harvest and what we nurture and that real inner kind of sacred flame that we need to take care of. And moving direct in Taurus, it means that we've got much more of a focus and an emphasis around resources, sustainability, really nourishing ourselves again, activating our senses and making sure that the things that we're focused upon have a sense of permanence and durability, and also come from a place of divine love, because Venus is the natural ruler for Taurus. And as Venus goes through her rebirth, you know, what you're looking at is, I need to build from a foundation of love, because if I don't, then it's not going to withstand the pressure. It's not going to withstand, you know, some of the changes and challenges that you go through. This is why I'm saying that you really have to look at what you're clinging to in your life that you don't enjoy. It's not going to be sustainable for you through the course of this year. Even if you can't see a way out or a way through, you have to come to a place of acceptance that it's not right for me, and then be open to new solutions and experiment with different ideas in January. That can be really groundbreaking for you, okay? But pay attention around the 14th of the month, because what you might find is some really interesting messages or insights. There's a beautiful rainbow just coming in there. So I feel like there'll be a beautiful blessing or a gift that makes its way towards you that's going to be very supportive. Okay, so this deck is called the Blindspot Sagittarius, and it's a wonderful deck for doing shadow work. It's a series of sigils, and The interpretations pack a punch. Now, of course, it's called the blind spot because we don't always want to recognize this might be going on for us. So I'm going to pull a card, and it will represent something that may be going on at a more subconscious level for you. Now, I'm going to cover off the meaning in the extended version because there's quite a lot of information contained within the deck, and it's a wonderful one to work introspectively with, to journal, to meditate around, but you have number 26, okay? So we'll cover that off in the extended reading. So this is a general for January. I'm going to invite you now to just think about a personal question that might not have come up in the main spread here, Sagittarius, and what we'll do is we'll go ahead and pull a couple of personal cards for you, again to cover off in the extended. If you're new to the channel, the extended reading, the link is in the description in the comment section underneath. It's a way to support my work and just to get deeper insight into the messages that have already come through and your personal question. Okay, we're going to clarify the Three of Wands, Two of Cups, Two of Wands. Big choices to make this month. Six of Cups. Knight of Swords again. Energy of the Lovers. You have Gemini showing up quite strongly here. Tower energy. Quite like this for you actually, because I feel like you need it to clear something out, especially where something's been held up or overdue. Okay. Nine of Swords is coming in with the Eight of Pentacles. There is a stress point for you there with that energy of the Devil. We'll get to the bottom of that in the extended. Okay, Stars coming in with the King of Swords. King of Cups there. Might be a water sign, Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer connected in there. It's a little bit of challenge. Even though you've got all these fives, this Ace of Swords, honestly, it's shown up in every single reading for January Soul Stories. It's the spiritual truth, you know? We're not going to come out of this month without being given insight and awareness into truly what's going on. Strength. And that's from a very personal perspective and what's very close to you in your immediate path, but it's also on a much more collective basis as well. So watch this space. King of Pentacles. The Wheel. And finally, Death. Okay, Sagittarius, thank you so much for joining me. If this has resonated, be sure to drop me a like and a comment. It really helps to support my work in the channel, and share it with anybody you think would be benefiting of the messages. And if you're joining me for the extended, I look forward to continuing this conversation with you. So I'm going to wish you well. You take good care, and I'll see you soon.